What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 60 of Level Up. This is Sinestral Manor, which is our second dungeon in Terra Online. And in this video, I will walk you guys through it with my guild Ritualistic Bloodshed on the server Arachnia. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. I am healing this instance. So as soon as everyone stacks on me, I'm going to go ahead and press F4 and get us started with a little bit of buff action going here. So as you see here, we're going to be walking through. Our first boss is actually up here. Second boss is right there. Third boss right there. Fourth boss right there. I think I got that right. Actually, yeah. Second boss is right there. Third boss, and then fourth boss. So we'll go ahead and work our way through this dungeon at a relatively fast pace because everyone here has done it before and know what to expect. So at each boss, I will tell you guys what to expect, how to counteract it, and also give you guys a little bit of a guide in order to know the fight before you walk in here. So hopefully you guys will find this informative. If you guys do, make sure you do hit that like button, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the video. So yeah, we're starting on our first trash pull here. Pretty simple. We got a really good group here. I mean, like I said, they're all guildies, so they know what they're doing. You know, we have Lord Krim here. He's a great tank, so it's going to be pretty damn easy to work our way through here. But I do want to mention that this place is a very undeadish type area. Like, if you've ever been in the Undercity in World of Warcraft, you'll understand what I'm talking about as far as that goes. And basically what I'm saying is it's very old and very temple-ish, like very cathedral-ish. Which makes sense because it's called the Sinestral Manor. So, I mean, for that, you know, that instance, it actually does make sense. So, what level can you enter this zone? Well, at level 26, I believe you can start queuing for it. Level 27 is more of the recommended since most of the mobs are level 27. But for the most part, you can jump in here at level 26 through the dungeon queue and get yourself in an SM group. So, I do highly recommend it. It's a great instance. You have a lot of quests on the outside of the dungeon. Probably about a good 5, 6, maybe 7 quests to do, not counting any of the guild repeatable quests, which you can get inside of Papori, which is the town that's right outside of this dungeon. So we're going to go ahead and keep these guys healed. Like I said, I'll be pretty much just talking about the instance and stuff like that as we go through, because I really probably won't have to heal that much since these guys are all level 32 or higher level, and they know what they're doing. I mean, if you have a group that's a pug style group, typically some people aren't going to dodge properly or they're just going to do stupid stuff. But if you get a decent group, you really should not encounter any issues whatsoever in this instance, for it is a very easy one. Alright, so as you see, I'm getting a lot of credit for different kills. That's because I do have a lot of different quests inside of here. But as you see up the top, it says cannot proceed. Mirage's level is too high to do the quest. You have to have at least, I think the cap is like level 30 or 31. Anyone below that, you'll be fine. But if you have anyone above that cap, you're not going to be able to do certain quests. So make sure that you have appropriate levels for this instance. Typically level 26 through 31 should be fine. Maybe 26 through 30 will be probably relatively the closest you can get to a perfect level for this instance. So just make sure when you come through here you don't have a bunch of level 32s, especially if you're trying to do the guild repeatables, because chances are you're not going to be able to get credit for each of the kills. But you will get credit for the minor ones, the actual quests. It's not the repeatable ones, so don't get confused with that. Alright. If you guys are wondering the class I'm playing, I am playing a priest. I'm relatively good geared. I'm not the best geared for my level, because I could obviously have a little bit more blues and a yellow. But for the most part, I am geared relatively good. I'll show you guys my gear. I have a couple blues here. This relatively good gear. I don't have any crystal slots yet. Really haven't found the need to yet since I've been replacing gear so much. But I will be doing that once I hit level 32, which is the cap for the open beta. Then once Head Start, happens, that's level 38. We'll get all good and square gear-wise, and then the launch will happen May 1st. So, plenty of awesome stuff happening in this beta. Alright, so we're approaching Teddy Bear, I believe. At least we're working our way up to the Teddy Bear boss, which is our first boss. Need to make sure that they don't forget that. So you type to them real quick. Alright. Just gotta make sure they're hitting all the bosses. Make sure they don't have a blonde moment. Alright, so throughout the entire dungeon, you're going to notice a lot of different trap type things. What I mean by traps is there's going to be a lot of mobs that are going to do a lot of damage to you if you don't avoid their moves. For instance, once we go through here, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So, see, they're charging up right now. They're going to do Lightning Storm. And since they're going to do the Lightning Storm, you want to get through it as fast as possible or just dodge it completely. That way you take minimal damage and can continue right off the start. But if you get hit, I mean, it's not that bad. Realistically, you're not going to have too much of an issue getting healed back up by healer if the healer is decent enough. But just a warning sign, do definitely watch out for those because they will do a lot of damage if you hit all three of them as you walk through them. Alrighty, so we are going and progressing through here quite nicely. This dungeon should only take you roughly 30 minutes to go through with a decent speed run group. If you clear the entire thing, it'll take you about an hour. So I recommend that you, if you have the quest, definitely clear this entire place. But realistically, it's not a great source for experience. So unless you have the quest, you should just do quick runs to farm the gear that you'll get, which is a lot of good gear. You get a ton of awesome stuff from this dungeon. You get yellows, you get blues, you just get a lot of cool stuff. So make sure you definitely farm this place at your appropriate level in order to maximize your gear gain throughout the levels that you progress through. Because having the best gear definitely does help in leveling, and that's one of the things that SM shines about, is it provides you that great gear that will allow you to quest that much faster and gain that many more levels. So definitely a recommendation to hit up this place. Overall, though, as you see, there's a lot of good details throughout this entire dungeon that really just, it pops out. It's a very gloomy type looking dungeon, but it's also a very cool looking dungeon because it looks very old, cathedral-ish, and it just looks like it fits in with the area of Pori. So you should really, like I said, hit this place up. It's very awesome looking, very great detail that they put into this dungeon. And overall, I have to say it's probably my favorite of the two that I've done. I've done Bastion of Lock in this one, and I have to say this one's probably my most favorite of the two dungeons. So that is definitely a plus. Alright, so I am going to get some mana really quick here. They are going to head over to the teddy bear boss. Alright. I just want to apologize for any dogs barking in the background if you do hear them. Probably won't because the studio mic is pretty damn good for blocking them out. But you never know. Alright, so now we are working on our Locan tokens by killing these defenders. Trying not to get into the wall so you guys can't see, but it happens. Alright, so we're working our way up to the teddy bear boss, which is located in this room right here. We're probably going to clear all this room right here, and then we're going to kill the teddy bear boss. So it should only be about like 2-3 minutes before we get to the first boss of this instance, called basically what we call the teddy bear, because it's just a teddy bear. I mean, you'll see what I'm talking about here in a couple seconds. Alright, so we're going to have to heal. Heal, heal, heal your boat gently down the health. I am so terrible at coming up with lyrics. Okay. I don't think I could even make it past the auditions in American Idol. I think that's how bad I am at singing. But I enjoy it. I enjoy singing along in dungeons and stuff. It's very fun. Alright. So if you guys are wondering our group composition, we have a Lancer, we have an Archer, looks like we have a Slayer, and we also have a Warrior along with myself, which is a Priest. It's a pretty decent and relevant composition for this place. I mean, you really don't have to worry about compositions that much, but I mean, if it's good to have variety in any group. Alright, so our first boss here is Kagaron, which is a teddy bear, as you see here, or a gerbil, or whatever the hell you want to call it. And basically all he does is he spawns ads. That is pretty much the entire boss fight. is he likes to spawn ads, and he also likes to do AoE. But for the most part, if your group is decent enough geared, you really don't have to worry about the AoE that much, or the ads, and it's relatively just a tank and spank experience. But if you want to get down to the meat and bones, yes it is, he does have an AoE, and he does spawn ads. So definitely watch out for the red rings, stay out of those, and also look out for the ads and kill those as fast as possible. Other than that, like I said, it's just a tank and spank, and you really do not have to worry about that much. Alright, so we are about to down him to 50%, and then the other 50% should not be that much longer. But as you see here, I mean, this dungeon is very, very big. I mean, it's probably about the size of Bastion of Luck, I want to say, but it's laid out differently. It's laid out in the sense that you're actually in a 2-story area. 2 stories, well, this actually is a ladder where you climb up here, and then you work your way over to this boss up here by facing 2 bosses. So you have a boss right there, and a boss right there to work your way through. So it's a 2-story instance, but relatively speaking, you're only going to be on level 1, and it's not even that big of a difference. I mean, honestly, the scenery in this entire building is very, very similar, but it's very, like I said, cathedral-like. But as we move through it, there'll be different changes to the different environments that you'll be in. So definitely take a look out for those, and I'll also point them out to you guys as we move along, if you guys don't already notice them. Alright, so we're doing a great job. We did a great job killing that mob, and a blue dropped, and they're not for me. It's actually a Warrior Slayer Archer, and I can't roll on it because we got class specified grouping going on here. Even though we're all good and friends with each other, but you know, we just like to keep it clean at all times. Teddy also has a full immune to debuffs during his shield, which gives him a 200% increased endurance, which is what Peter pointed out to me. So thank you a lot, Peter, for that. It's great to know that he does have a full immune debuff during his shield and gives him a 200% endurance. So definitely look out for that as well, if you're wondering why you aren't doing a lot of damage or not as much. So definitely something to look out for. Alright. So we are now progressing up to the second boss, which will be right through that door and up a ladder. And then we'll be going on to the third boss and then the final boss. So like I said, this is a 4-boss instance. It's relatively fast to go through. Right now we're pretty much clearing everything because our tank is such a great tank that he could just pull the entire room and be like, come on, please. I mean, it's a very simple instance, like I said. I mean, you really shouldn't struggle that hard to get through it, especially if you have a decent group composition that is, you know, of appropriate level to go through. I mean, if you have a bunch of 26s, of course you're not going to be able to do the pulls that we will be able to do, such as the pulls that we're doing right now, basically pulling the entire corridor. But if you have just a decent group, decent tank, stuff like that, you should be able to be fine if you screw up every once in a while. I mean, you really shouldn't have that big of an issue. Oh god, there's a witch on me. Oh well, we got this. Don't matter anyways. Oh god, I'm gonna get attacked by that. Yep, knew it, knew it. No, well, I shouldn't die. Oh! Oh, that was close. I almost got screwed because my space combo. Oh well. Alright, we're good. We're good to go. As far as trash mobs, there is a lot of AoE trash mobs in here. In other words, casters that you do want to down first, like the Chaos Witch that we just killed. Definitely something you want to down first because those are pesky for healers to deal with. Especially since most of the time, they're going to be going after the healers. So you really want to get those down as fast as possible to really just make sure your healer isn't getting that much strain on them. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and climb up this ladder and get ourselves to the second boss and to our first scenery change from medieval to, well, you guys will see here in a second. It's pretty dang cool looking. I do have to warn, it is rated M. This a warning sign. This whole game is rated M, but just want to warn you guys, it is a little graphic in this next room, so just want to prepare your eyes. Alright, so climb up here all seducing and sexy like females do in this game, because that's just how they are. They're seducing and sexy like. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and put our AoE heal down. If you guys want to know a healing guide, typically what I do is, if I see like a bunch of chaos going around screen, I'll run in circles. Even if it's not chaotic as it seems, I'll run in circles just to avoid the auto attacks. That way I could stay around the tank, I could stay around the DPS to heal them and stuff like that, but I won't get any damage taken to me. So here's our first scenery change. Now this is a blood room with a blood fountain right smack dab in the middle, and what there else to be other than vampires? Of course, vampires do love blood, and they definitely show it in this room. A very beautiful room, and it's a very stylish and detailed room with a bunch of tables, a bunch of pictures, just a bunch of little minor details to give the player a atmosphere that is pretty dang gloomy and this bloody and mature rating, let's just say that. So the boss that we're actually coming up to right now is a pretty dang easy boss. It's pretty much tank and spank with some ads, but it's tricky. I'll show you guys here in a second what I mean by that. But you know, for the most part, this entire trash floor right here is not too difficult. Every group I've been in so far, even not guild groups, has just pulled the entire room, because it's not that difficult. I mean, it's a starter instance, only level 26, so you really can't expect something balls to the walls this hard as hell to go through. So we're gonna approach our second boss here, which is the Duchess Tyrannia, and it's a vampire boss. And basically what she does, at least I think it's a she, yes it's a she, once she gets to a certain percent, she will start running around the room like a mad woman, and you'll see what I mean. She's very fast. I mean, look at her. She spawns ads as she's running around, and she'll do that for a good about 20-30 seconds until she decides to stop moving around. I mean, it's very interesting. You guys will see here in a second. She'll just stop moving around. But for the most part, you just take the ads, make sure that your group does a great job downing ads, and then you just start chasing the boss again, and she'll come over here in a second. She wants to kill us. Alright, so she stays over here. We leash her back to us, and now we're back to the DPSing phase of the boss. You could actually DPS her as she's moving around, but she's so dang hard to hit that, I mean, for the most part, you should just be downing the ads to begin with. But if you want to do a super speedy run, you could attack her while she is moving. But like I said, just down the ads, do it the safe way, and that's the most recommended way I could tell you. Is just once she spawns ads, kill the ads, wait till she stops moving, leash her back to you, and you'll be good to go. So like I said, she's very easy. We already killed her. Very simple boss, tank and spank with ads, and she runs around like a little mad woman, and she drops pretty decent gear as well. Unfortunately, not gear for me, at least this time. Last time she did. Alright, so we're going to be moving on to our third boss, which is actually a pretty cool looking boss. He's like a Joker sort of type guy. You'll understand what I mean by that here in a moment. But he is pretty simple as well, although he does have a mechanic, which I'll talk about here in a second, that healers have to watch out for. So once we get up there, I'll explain it a little bit more, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so I do want to mention another healing tip. If you are a healer, definitely make sure that you cast your HOTS. Right now, it's not really that needed. But most of the time, if I'm in a group that I'm not familiar with a tank I'm not familiar with, I'll just cast my AoE right there, and just allow the tank to stand on top of it. That way he takes even less damage because he's getting healed over time. And then you can also, once he gets down really low, use your healing circle, and it will definitely boost him up that much faster. And any of the DPS, just make sure you keep them up respectively. So it's not really that hard to heal this place. I mean, realistically, if your tank's good enough and keeps aggro, you really shouldn't have to do a lot of circling and a lot of dodging around to avoid attacks like I'm having to do right now. You should just be able to stand there, you know, just cast your heals and not really worry too much. But since we are doing a little bit of crazy pulls to clear this place as fast as possible, we are definitely going to do stuff a little bit less generic than you should do as you walk through this place. I need to heal myself. Alright, so let's go ahead and get through here. And alright, got some gold. Alright. By the way, I do want to plug our guild. If you are on Arachnia and you do want a guild, just make sure that you are a decent player that loves Terra, and will definitely invite you to the guild. Just look up Ritualistic Bloodshed on Arachnia, which is a PvE server, and we'll definitely toss you out an invite if you want to play with us. You know, I get asked a lot of the times what server are you on, and can I play with you, and you can do both, Arachnia, and you can play with me. So I do definitely love playing with my fans, and if you guys, like I said, want to play with me in Terra, definitely the opportunities out there if you will own a copy once it's released. So definitely hit me up on Arachnia, the guild's Ritualistic Bloodshed, and the namesake Chrysity. So just definitely, like I said, hit me up. But anyways, we're on our third boss, and the third boss is Duke Volperon, and basically what he does is he's relatively a tank and spank boss, but he has a dot. And what I mean by dot is he will put a debuff on your group that will do damage over time, and a lot of damage. You have to make sure as a healer that you're on top of it at all times, because if you're not, he's going to annihilate the party. He's really the most complicated boss in this entire instance, just because of the actually he's the second most complicated boss in this instance, just because he does have that debuff, and if you don't catch it by looking out for the purple bar, like hopefully we'll get the debuff right now. All right, so we have the debuff, Purifying Circle, good to go. Regenerate Circle, everyone's healed back up. That easy. If you're a Mystic, I'm not sure. I've never played a Mystic, but that's what you would do with a Priest. Just use your Purifying Circle and you're good to go. Once the health bars turn from blue to purple, that's when you're going to want to cast your basically Cleanse. That way your group gets minimal damage taken on you, and you do not wipe the group because you forgot to help them out. Other than that, he really just goes around, does a lot of dash attacks, as you just saw there, and he's a really cool boss. I mean, if you look at him, he looks like a badass, but overall, he's not really that hard to kill. It looks like Peter's doing a lot of damage on him right now. Pulled a little bit of aggro off the tank. Definitely doing his job, being a DPS. But as you see, like I said, he's not really doing anything past his debuff. He's really a one-dimensional tank and spank experience. So, I mean, you really don't have to look out for too much with this boss, but just look out if you're a healer for that debuff, because that debuff is crucial to get rid of. I mean, it will annihilate your group. Alright, so we are about to move on to our next room, and our next room will be the final boss corridors and then the boss room. So, I think we're going to be good to go, but I will show you guys the map really quick. So the first boss, Teddy Bear, is up in this room. Second boss, which is the Vampire, is up in this room. And then the Duke is in this room, and then the final boss is in this room. So that'll be pretty cool. It's a pretty cool instance. It's a very big instance as well, and realistically, it should, like I said, take you about, I'd say, 30 to an hour long. It's a very short, sweet, but very fun instance. And if you have a good group, it's a very enjoyable one as well. And if you've played World of Warcraft or any other sort of game that has like an Undercity type, sort of medievalish type feel, you'll definitely understand what I mean by that, and it'll bring nostalgia. Let's just say that it brought nostalgia when I was in here, or a Skullomance feel if you're a WoW fan as well. I make a lot of WoW references because the majority of people coming to various MMOs are WoW fanatics, so it's just easier to compare it that way than going into like Edmonds Online or like Perfect Roll Entertainment Online, or comparing something with that. So just trying to use a general perspective to give more viewers the chance to experience a comparison, and give themselves, you know, the chance to figure out what I mean by certain aspects of instances. So here's another trap. The disc reapers, they'll toss their discs out respectively as you walk through, like they did there. I've actually died because of this. I got caught in a really bad spot and I ended up dying. So definitely watch out for those discs, because they do a massive amount of damage if you are a healer and if you are a squishy. Alright, so I'm just going to go over here, take a couple hits, but that's just because I'm trying not to get into those disc reaper blades. But I am going to back up into this corridor and allow them to do their thing. Alright, so we're now in the final boss room. Now this boss room is massive and it's beautiful. This reminds me specifically of, I guess you could say, Scarlet Monastery Cathedral, the main room in this, in that instance, in World of Warcraft, and also the fort, I think it's called Fort Reynolds or something like that in Forsaken World, which is one of the first instances you do there as well. And I'm doing a terrible job keeping them cleansed, but for the most part they should be fine, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, it's very reminiscent of a lot of different places in a lot of different MMOs, because most MMOs have that cathedral, have that sort of environment that looks really, really church-like, and that's another thing that Terra brought to the table. Is we're just gonna include something that a lot of people like to see in MMOs, which is the cathedral, and they did it very nicely. I'm not sure if this actually is a cathedral. It just looks like a cathedral. But here's the thing about this place: you want to stay directly in the middle, because these orbs, they hurt. If you get hit twice with them, good. Basically, just say your prayers, because you probably are gonna die if you are a squishy type class. I definitely die if I'm in one of those orbs for a too long period of time, but you just want to keep your group position in the middle, because they do have range, so he will not be able to hit me right here. So if you stay right here in this middle and pull respectively, you'll be perfectly fine and good to go. Definitely the best tip I can give you is, like I said, take out the sorcerers as you move through. That way they don't, you know, throw their stuff, then throw their orbs. But if you want to move through the middle, definitely stay on this fine little line we have here. That way you do not die. This line right here is where you want to go. But like I said, I do recommend you just go around and take each one of them down. But since there is groups in the middle, you're going to have to take the groups each into the middle and then take the sorcerers down after that. Now, they are Lokian Blood Shapers. They're not actually sorcerers. But considering they shoot magic orbs, it's safe to call them a sorcerer. Let's just say that. Alright, so we're good to go over here. We haven't really screwed up at all during this instance, and we're approaching the final boss, which will take place right here in the center of the instance. And there'll be an awesome cinematic for you guys to watch as well, which I will shut up through so that way you guys can experience it. But as you see, they just got hit by the orb. Luckily, they're all level 32, so they didn't really take that much damage. And they only got hit by one orb, which, like I said, it takes about 2 of them in order to do a lot of damage to you and for you to really notice it. So just try and avoid them, but if not, just try not to get hit by 2. That way, chances are you probably won't die, you know, at all, and your healer won't yell at you. Let's just say that. So try and stay out of those orbs as you progress through this entire room. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and AoE heal these guys, get them started, and that way I don't have to heal them pretty much at all, except for this final heal right here on Chris, because Chris is a retard and never dodges sometimes. Sorry, Chris, but you sometimes are retarded. Everyone's a retard. Everybody retard. But yeah, so we just got hit by those orbs again. I actually got hit by them last instance when we were on the guild. I did not really realize how much damage they did until I got hit by them, which is actually really great, because I ran through this place probably about 5 or 6 times now. That way I can give you guys a great analysis on what to expect and basically my overall impressions as I move through this entire dungeon. Now, I do want to note that this dungeon overall is a very great dungeon, and like I said, I do recommend it out of the 2 Bastion Lock in this dungeon to check this one out. It's definitely a great dungeon and definitely worth checking out. Has a great amount of experience in it too. I mean, you get a lot of good gear, and you also get a lot of quests to go in, and there are a lot of repeatable quests too. So even if you've already been through it once, you can go through it twice. Now, another thing I need to note in this room really quick is do not take out that generator until you kill these ads. Because if you do not clear this room and you go ahead and kill that generator, the boss is going to spawn and you're going to shit yourself and probably die. Let's just say that. So save the generator for last. That way you do not end up wiping for no reason. That way, like I said, the boss won't spawn because that is the trigger. You have to kill that and the boss spawns, which you guys will see here in a second. So we're about ready to kill that generator and show you what I mean. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and move up here to the generator. They're going to take it down. We're going to watch cinematic and progress to the last boss, which I'll talk briefly about because he's not that hard, but there is a little bit of things that you do need to take in consideration while fighting him. Alright, so they're doing a terrible job getting that down. I guess I should heal Peter up a little bit, top him off. Now, there's 2 different ways you can do this boss. I'll talk about that here in a second, but here is the cinematic.
Only fools would tamper with powers they cannot understand, let alone control. Try controlling this, Malgarios, rise and feed, feed, feed!
Alright, so there is our cinematic and opening to our boss. Now, our boss is going to come up from this little symbol right here, so we better get out of the way so he doesn't kill us. But his name is Malgarios, and he is a crab slash, I was told, like centipede slash like grasshopper. But what we are going to do is we're going to pull him back all the way to this room. Basically, it was sort of a tap and run type deal that our tank did. And you can keep him inside this room, but since we don't want to deal with the ads, we're just going to go ahead and bring him over into this room. But typically, if you do take him out over here, there is going to be ads that spawn. But since we're just going to bring him over to this room, we really won't have to worry about that too much. But yeah, this is definitely the most ideal strategy. You could either bring him in here if you've killed the Disc Reapers, or just pull him all the way back over here. That way you get optimal experience, don't have to kill as many things, and you get him down as fast as possible without as much strain on the group. Other than that, really you just have to watch out for his charge attack like that. Any DPS needs to stay in the back of this mob, because if not, you're going to get basically wrecked. Because he does have an enrage timer that we figured out right up here. And as that charges up, once it hits the max, which is 10, he is going to get really pissed off and start wailing on people. And when he wails on people, since he is enraged, he'll do a lot more damage and it'll hurt a lot more. So just watch out for that enrage timer, and when he does enrage, make sure you are behind him. Because if you're in front of him, let's just kiss your ass goodbye, because you're pretty much dead. Because he does a ton of damage. Overall, like I said though, he is a very simple boss fight. And just keep him up against the wall like our tank's doing, and he'll be good to go. You know, this entire instance is not that difficult. It's just more of a matter of coordination and how well your group knows how to handle certain situations, like staying out of AoE, staying out of, you know, debuffing stuff, like getting debuffs off of players. You know, just making sure that everything is refined and polished like a typical starter dungeon would feel like. You just have to do the basics good enough and you'll progress through it as fast as possible. So we're about ready to kill this guy off, and he has been a tough fight, but we think we have got it. But anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this guide. Realistically, I wanted to get you guys into this dungeon, allow you to check it out and form your opinions however you want to form them. In my opinion though, I think this dungeon is pretty damn awesome, and I think overall you should check it out over Bastion of Locke. Check out both of course, but definitely check out this one because he drops oranges, he drops yellows, he's a badass. So we're going to go ahead and give up on that one. Don't really need it, but hopefully the next piece of loot will be a lot better. So hopefully you guys, like I said, enjoyed it. That has been the entire instance, and realistically you'll have a lot of stuff to do in this instance. There is a ton of quests that will get you probably about a level the first time, if not a level and a half the entire instance. So anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this instance for our instance called the Sinestral Manor, or SM. You can enter it at level 26 up to around level 31. That's optimal. But if you're, you know, level 32, you could do it as well. And he does drop yellows, so make sure you come in here, drops yellows, gives you good experience, has a couple quests here and there, and it's overall a very awesome and colorful and a little bit gloomy instance. It's a pretty good variety instance. But anyways, guys, that's been episode number 60 of Level Up the Sinestral Manor full playthrough and guide. I'm your host, Zach Sharps, as always. If you want to follow us on Facebook, at facebook.com/LugoEntertainment and twitter.com/Zach Sharps, that is always welcome. And if you like the video, make sure you do hit that like button. It helps us out a ton. And you can also subscribe. You know, that helps too. You can subscribe to either the channel, the show, or the channel and show. And also make sure to hit that email me for every new upload button every time you do subscribe. That way, you get all our stuff sent to the inbox. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching this ritualistic bloodshed full playthrough and run through and guide of Sinestral Manor. Anyways, guys, catch you guys next time.